All right, let's re-meet our panel introduced 8 minutes ago. Bob Dole, the former Republican presidential candidate. Willard Scott, the weather reporter of NBC News Today. In Los Angeles is Barbara Eden, the well-known actress. Art Linkletter, the oldest member of our panel. Ed McMahon, the famed TV personality. Jane Russell, the famous actress. And back in Washington as well as Dr. Mike McGee of the David Rockefeller. He's David Rockefeller Fellow and Professor of Surgery at Jefferson Medical College and a Senior Medical Advisor of Pfizer. They make Viagra. And this is the Dole panel, is it not, Robert? These are your folk. These are the story of aging.
I try to pick a group of younger people, and, you know, we got some great people on here. Jane Russell was one of my pinup girls in World War II. I remember the picture very well. And I've watched all these people over the years and listened to Willard Scott here. But I think the point we want to make is that people do live longer, and they can live healthy lives. And we're not exceptions. We may be more visible and have a higher profile, but there are hundreds of thousands and millions of people our age and older who now consider themselves sort of middle-aged.
Art Linkletter, what's the biggest problem of aging? You are 88.
Yes, I have found in my meeting with all kinds of groups, because I lecture at retirement and nursing homes all across the country, the biggest thing is that when you suddenly realize you're old, you lose independence. People are helping you cross the street, and people are making decisions for you, and the doctor is saying,
old. Huh? Treating you old.
Yeah, treating you old, and taking away your hand on the tiller of your own life, kind of pushing you along. Even doctors do that. They say, now, Grandma, here are these pills. You just take these pills. And
Don't
she
ask
says,
about them.
What do I do it before breakfast, or that kind of thing?
Willard Scott, you and I are the same age. Do you feel old?
No, and I know you don't feel old. And Ed McMahon is my pinup boy. I wanted to get that in.
I don't feel old, you know that. I feel about 45.
Well, what do you face? What's the biggest problem? You did semi-retire, Willard, though.
Well, you know, I keep doing that to try to get my contract renewed. They think I'm going to leave. I may be slow, but I'm ahead of you. No, you know, I think that one of the great things is I talked to somebody today about this, is to hang around younger people. That keeps you younger and thinking younger.
Very good.
And the other thing is to be happy. Have a nice attitude about life, and that's a real blessing. I don't want to, say any more than that, but it's just a wonderful thing.
We're going to establish each person and then get into a major discussion of all of this. Barbara, what's the biggest problem, maybe from the female end, of getting older? You're in your 60s, right?
Yes. I haven't really seen a problem.
You don't get offers to be the sex starlet of a movie.
No, but that's kind of a relief. It really is. It's wonderful to be able to just be yourself and relax a little and not have to wear shorts and a bikini and worry about your navel.
Isn't L.A. a tough place to be old in?
Is L.A. a tough place to be old in? I don't think it's any more difficult than anywhere else. I love to look at beautiful people, and we have a lot of beautiful people here.
But you don't feel old?
I don't feel ancient. I know I'm older. I mean, I'm realistic about it. I enjoy each day, I guess, as it comes. Ed
McMahon, what's the biggest problem?
I don't have a problem. I just feel, really not at all. I like to be old. I just don't want to get old. I like being old. I'm proud of my age. I'm 77. I'm very proud of that. I got it to here. I'm not done yet. And that's my attitude. I mean, people can't keep up with me, and that's wonderful.
Jane, what's the biggest problem of being old?
I just go day by day.
Doesn't bother you? You don't say to yourself, I wish I were young again?
No. Oh, heavens, no. I wouldn't want to live through that again for anything.
If anyone who read your book knows why, right? All right, Dr. McGee, are they right? Do people treat people old as old? Are we mistaken in this subject of gerontology?
Well, I think that certainly there is that feeling out there, but there really is a new face of aging that you see represented here tonight. The Pfizer Pulse survey just surveyed 3,000 senior Olympiads, and what they said is, number one, you have to stay current. 69% of them were using the internet regularly, and they had very active minds. Secondly, stay connected. By that, they meant 41% of them were still working, and they were very active with family and friends. And lastly, stay in control. even though 64% of them were on pharmaceutical medications and they had the same chronic diseases as everyone else, they had seen their doctors early and often, so they controlled the diseases rather than having the diseases control them. So I think the issues of self-control are very important to the aging, but we certainly see a new longevity, and we see people doing things that weren't imagined some 20 years ago.
And we'll get into all of that. That's our topic for tonight, growing old, right after this. Don't go away.
On June 16th, the mystery.
Have you ever seen anything like it?
The adventure. The struggle between good and evil.
Let's do this!
Get ready.
All right, try this, guys.
For the next generation of filmed animation.
I'd lean back if I were you.
Should I get out and push?
Titan AE, rated PG. June 16th, only in theaters.
I need my light.
What light?
The light I ordered on your website.
This isn't the website. This is the store site.
You mean I can't get my light?
Not at this site.
Same store, same lights.
Different system, different sites.
I came in here because I thought I might
find the same things that were on the website.
Doesn't that seem right?
Now, in hindsight, if the site was tied to the website, then it would be easy for us to give you your light. Excellent insight, Dwight.
Forget it.
Good night.
Got yourself into too much credit card debt? Why not point and click your way out of debt with a second mortgage from ditech.com? Whether you have equity or no equity, good credit or not so good credit, Ditech has a second mortgage with absolutely no closing cost to help you lower your monthly payments now. So point and click your way out of high-interest, non-tax deductible credit card debt at ditech.com or call us at 1-800-71-FIX.
Faster, more reliable, higher quality, more profitable. Nortown Networks is building the new high-performance internet, and it can be whatever you want it to be. So tell us, what do you want the internet to be?
Come together right now over me.
Get it right with Investors Business Daily. It's not just a newspaper, it's a unique research tool that shows how the big money thinks. Investors Business Daily. Don't read it, use it.
Bob Dole, you became a national spokesperson for Pfizer, in a sense, with the Viagra, and it was on this show where you had told us that you were in the test results for that drug. What part, let's be frank, does that drug play in the aging process?
Well, again, it might be a question better left to Dr. McGee, but I think the important thing is what we've really done is trying to get men into the doctor's office and then trying to get the doctor in the office to do things he should do, to have the prostate test and all the other tests you take. And we've had some success in that. I think, you know, I took a lot of heat and a lot of ridicule over that, but I think the result has been that more men go to their doctor, but it's still very low as compared to women. That's what this is all about. It's about aging, it's about seeing your doctor, it's about living longer and have a better quality of life.
Art, did you take better care of yourself?
I've always taken good care of myself.
You always were kind of...
I never smoked, didn't drink, always was in good shape. In fact, when the driver picked me up today, I was on my bicycle doing my exercises. I ski on Black Diamond trails. I surf in Hawaii. All of this at 88.
Not bad.
Of course, skiing is a natural because after 70, everything's downhill.
And that's right up Willard Scott's alley. You're the predecessor of Willard Scott. Yeah. Willard, do you take good care of yourself?
I think I have for the most part. You know, I find that the people that I talk to that are 100 or 105 or 4, they have brothers and sisters and people in the family. Don't you think it's genetics, Doctor? I mean, there's so much involved in the fact that who your grandparents were. And
how much of it, Doctor, is luck?
Well, certainly, you know, gene and luck, you would think, play a big part in this, but the truth of the matter is it's a combination of science and people who change their behaviors. as Bob was saying before, you know, it isn't so much that people came in for erectile dysfunction or for Viagra. It's the fact that in the process of coming in, their untreated diabetes and hypertension and heart disease and cancer, the prostate was picked up early rather than late. And if you can do that, you tip everything towards prevention and you have a chance of a future that's full of vitality.
You take care of yourself, Barbara?
Yes, I do.
Get all the regular checkups?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
Yes,
You're
I do.
in good health?
And I spin.
You what?
I spin.
Spin.
I do the bicycling, you know, the bicycle classes.
Ed,
yeah.
you take care of yourself?
I do, yeah. My attitude is go to the doctor when I don't need to. I go see them often to find out what might be happening to me, but I exercise every day. I'm very much involved in keeping fit.
Jane?
Yes. I ride a bike and I swim and I, you know, keep busy and I sleep. I love to sleep. I love to sleep.
You sleep a lot, Jane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a great Aunt Jane who lived to be 102. And she used to sit in the chair and say, "Oh, Lord, take me. Oh, Lord, take me." You know?
Finally, he did.
And then my brother would lie down outside her window and play, "Going home, going home."
We'll be back with more on this edition of Larry King Live. Don't go away.
My dad was a coach at Georgia School for the Deaf. I grew up in an environment where deaf kids kind of adopted me in their culture. Thank all of you for coming to the camp today. When I first went to Merrill Lynch, I was very impressed with Steve Malone. He was very easy to talk to, and he listened well. So it's important for all of us to listen well and to cooperate. Every day you're building your future.
The pulse of business is accelerating to internet speed, which is why 96% of the Fortune E50 run Oracle. Oracle. Software powers the internet.
Comfort Inn understands business travel.
I've been thinking. Kill the slides. Just talk to them.
Our complimentary breakfast saves you time.
Enunciate.
And one of our 1,500 hotels is probably right near your meeting.
Take deep breaths.
It's more than a room, it's comfort.
Home sweet home. Home to suffocating hot spots in the living room. Cold spots that make the kitchen feel like a frozen wasteland. And air so humid that, well, stagnant would be a compliment. But that'll change when you call Lennox. We'll clean the air and make every room feel just the way you like it. Lennox, 6,000 dealers, over 100 years of service, one less thing to worry about.
Bob Dole, isn't it a problem if too many people get too old? And we're not going to be able to take care of the aging population.
Well, we're going to have, I understand, by the year 2030, we're going to have 70 million people over 65, which is almost double the amount we have now, be more men than women. I think it depends. Again, that's probably a medical question, but my mother-in-law, Mrs. Hanford, is going to be 99 on Monday, and I bet she's taking notes on this program. And so, you know, see if I'm doing okay, and she'll call me when I get home. But I've thought about it a lot, and I've even thought about it in my own case. I'm 76, and I wonder what I'd be like without a disability. I'd probably be climbing mountains or doing things out there with Art Linkletter at 88. But I don't think so. I think we're going to live longer. We're going to have a good life. If we do a lot of these things, we see our doctors. That's the key. If we go see our doctor, and if the doctor's wise enough to ask us the right questions, we'll have a good, long, healthy life.
You don't feel your age, Senator?
Well, yeah, I
whatever
feel
that
a
is.
little bit. Whatever it is, 76. But I did my treadmill today. Did a little tonight before I came on the program, so I could stay awake. But you know,
keep it up, Bobby. Do you think about your age, Art? Do you think I'm 88?
The first time I was ever aware I was getting old was when I had my 80th birthday. I was so busy in show business all the way through that the years went on. But when I was 80, that gave me a little thought. But the biggest problem that comes out of your question to Bob was not our individual health, but the government's handling. Right now, Europe is going to have it before we are. Europe, the 11 nations and Eurodollar, is going to be struck with no pensions, no private pensions, no government money. In the next 10 years, Europe is going to have an economic disaster. No politician will either lengthen the age or lower the amount of money or raise the taxes because there's strikes as we had in Paris.
And your advancements, Dr. McGee, at Pfizer and others are what keep people going longer, right?
Well, I think certainly our scientific advances combined with changes in behavior and society's willingness to accept this new phase of aging. You know, we don't tend to think of aging as a drag on society. In fact, you know, we know now that 50% of all 60-year-olds have a parent, and in the year 2050, there'll be over 1 million people who are beyond the age of 100. So we'll be dealing with 4- and 5-generation families. And this can be a tremendous resource for America as long as those individuals are vital and healthy, because they bring humor, wisdom, insight, and history that can really increase our productivity. We think the next step for America is to really embrace and value the 4- and 5-generation family, and that's what Pfizer is working on, along with others.
We have not done that, have we, Willard?
No, but I'll tell you one thing. The people now that are living longer and getting to be older, they are taking better care of themselves. And so part of the problem of who's going to support whom here has to do with the fact that these people are going to want to work. And I've heard reports that some people say that in the next 50 to 75 years, people will be working until they are 100 years old. They'll be living till they're 125 and 30, and they'll work not just because they have to, probably, but because they want to, because they're great employees. Ask any employer, senior citizens make the best employees in the world. They love their job, they show up on time, and they're happy people, and they're good workers.
You want to work, don't you, Barbara?
Oh, yes.
You like work?
I love to work.
You don't feel inactive, Ed?
I work all the time.
You're out now with your .com and everything?
I've got my nextbigstar.com. I just did a 40-city, 40-day bus tour. Travel on a bus, started here, wound up in Washington. 40 days, 40 cities.
Wow.
Looking for talent. Do you work, Jane? Well, you wrote a book.
Well, I'm going to London, and I'm going to do a TV show, and then I'm going to Spain and visit some friends, and then I'm going on a cruise. And I'm going to sing on the cruise.
Wow.
Hey.
And,
Yeah.
You know, keep busy. Keep busy. Why get bored?
That's right.
We'll be back. We'll include your phone calls. The subject tonight is aging, and as you can tell, this panel is not. We'll be right back.
Tuesday, a rare interview with Nelson Mandela, one of the great leaders of our time, on Larry King Live, Tuesday, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Keys, 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 keys on Van Nuys. Keys, 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 keys on
Keys Lexus, just minutes from Beverly Hills and the West Side, is your choice when buying or leasing your next luxury vehicle. From the luxurious LS400, the soaring style of the ES300, or the luxury vehicle with an attitude, the LX470, no one in the Valley has a finer selection.
Van Nuys. Keys, 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 keys on Van Nuys.
Keys Lexus, in the center of the Valley on Van Nuys, where it's fun to buy a car.
Hey, Los Angeles, Joe Davis for La Brea Chevrolet, and I'll do anything to sell you a car.
You wouldn't eat a bug, would you?
You bet I would.
You wouldn't kiss my African parrot.
I'd kiss anything to make a deal.
You wouldn't jump off the roof into this glass of water, would you? Always like Chevy better than Ford anyway.
What do I have to do to sell you a car?
CNN in Time, the Sunday news magazine, 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
By the way, tomorrow night on Larry King Live, the special guest is former President Nelson Mandela of South Africa. In recent polls, he's been accorded the honors as high as the most important figure of the 20th century. I'm sorry, Bob, were you going to say something?
Well, I'm going to say there's another example of somebody who accomplished a lot after he turned 70. Is Nelson Mandela.
You're right. There's a great example. Bob Dole is with us, and also in Washington is Willard Scott, who, by the way, we're going to ask about this. The Today Show is going to 3 hours. Barbara Eden is here. Barbara Eden is here in Los Angeles, as is the famed Art Linkletter, who keeps on keeping on, as well as Ed McMahon, who just turned 77. And Jane Russell, who's going to London and Spain. Willard, what's with 4 hours? What's with 3 hours of the Today Show?
Well, it's too big now. I mean, nothing can handle it. It's got to move on, and it's going to move into the 9 to 10 period. I didn't get the straight word from Mr. Zucker, but I know that he's going to let me keep doing my birthdays for Smuckers, and I hope to see your face on that jar, by the way, Art, very soon. I want to put you in the back of my...
I want to make that, too. I'm looking forward to that myself. I want to be on that jelly jar.
I love peanut butter.
They make the best peanut butter in the world, Smuckers.
Oh, yes. Send a case.
I wanted Bob to hear this, and you guys, it's quick, and I'll tell it. I interviewed a guy in Ohio who's the oldest licensed pilot in the United States. He's 100 years old, still flies, and built his own airplane. And I asked him, after we did the interview, it wasn't on the air, I said to him, you know, do you take any medicine, any pills? And he said, no. He said, it interferes with my sex life.
Can I tell a quick story?
Sure.
I knew it would come to this.
I interviewed a 100-year-old lady at the San Francisco World's Fair, and I said, what's the best thing about being 100? She says, there's so little peer pressure.
And we were supposed to have a 107-year-old man on the show tonight, but his father was sick.
Oh.
Anyway, Wichita, Kansas, hello.
Yes, my question is for Art Linkletter.
Yeah.
What should a concerned family members do when an elderly member in your family becomes unsafe, either by physical abilities or mental, not only to themselves but to others, and still insist and believe that they are able to, say, drive a vehicle?
Well, I happen to be chairman of the board of an international Alzheimer research foundation, and you've described a lot of those problems that they have. My advice is to have them well taken care of, either, if you can afford it, by nurses, as Ronald Reagan does right now, or by taking them to a wonderful home where they can get good nursing. The caregivers are endangered in their health and in their longevity by the presence in a home of a person who can't take care of himself. They have emotional, physical, and financial difficulties which ruin the whole lives of everybody, especially Alzheimer victims.
Don't you fear a nursing home, Ed? Wouldn't that be one of the fears?
I don't want any part of that. No, I wouldn't like that at all. No.
Of course, you're not in control, right?
Yeah, I want to keep going straight.
Barbara, would you fear, is that one of the fears of aging, to be?
I won't be there. That's all. I've decided I will not be in a nursing home.
Jane, you fear it? Don't fear it?
No, I don't want any part of it.
Oh, you don't even think about it.
No.
Doctor, is it common to fear it in this age group?
Absolutely, Larry. You know, we are moving more toward a emphasis on independent living. It used to be that we thought that aging was the problem. In fact, it's disease and isolation and rejection. And our response now is, I think, far more enlightened. Not only is the science better and we're picking up diseases early and treating them, but in addition, we're looking at people as potentially independent up through 100. And so many of the models that are now available for people include the support that may be necessary, but an emphasis on human dignity and independent living. And I think that that's the right way to go.
Was there a turning point for you, Barbara? Was 60 a turning point for you? Was it a tough day, as Art had when he was 80?
60 was a tough day for me. You know, I have never paid attention to my birthdays or the numbers, or it really, I sort of forgot about them until 60. And I think what bothered me was suddenly I realized there was so little time left.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me.
You're not middle-aged.
Not getting,
60.
yes.
I mean, let's not kid.
Yes, you're not, it wasn't getting older. It was the fact that I wanted to live a little longer.
Yeah. Did you have a turbulent age, Ed?
73 was tough for me because my father lived to be 73. So I figured if I made 73, hey, that's pretty good. I lived as long as my dad. Once I got through there, I'm just sailing on. Now I'm heading for my grandmother. She lived to be 84.
Willard, was 60 bad for you?
Never has been. Not, Larry, I've loved all of it. As long as I'm still here, I've got a little thing on my briefcase that says every day's a gift. And as far as I'm concerned, if I wake up healthy and happy, and as long as I've got a job and get invited on the Larry King Show and get sit next to Bob Dole, the President of the United States, I mean, who could ask for more?
Right.
Bob, did you have a bad age day?
I don't think so. It's pretty much the same experience as Ed. My father lived to be 75, and I'm now 76. I always subtract the 4 years I spent in Army hospitals. That keeps me back, you know, take 4 years off every birthday. But I think the caller from Wichita made a point that Art answered very well. I think we shouldn't leave the impression to everybody in their 70s or 80s or even late 60s that it's going to be a piece of cake, because some people have real illnesses. and haven't been as lucky, you might say, or had the same lifestyle. But 25 years ago, the federal government issued what we call dietary guidelines. I worked with Senator George McGovern at that time, and I think there's been a change in lifestyles going back when the first smoking report came out, then the dietary guidelines. And I think it'd be a great idea if we could have a discussion with people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, where we didn't get into politics of Medicare and Social Security every time we had that debate. It might mean a lot to a lot of people and might be very helpful for them for a longer, better life.
This panel tonight, though, is atypical, isn't it, Bob?
I think so. Now, maybe Dr. McGee would disagree, but I think we've all apparently taken good care of it. I know Barbara has, and Jane has, and the rest of us have tried.
Well, I think, Larry, the population is actually catching up to emphasize this issue of attitude being important. In the Pfizer Pulse survey of senior Olympiads, 64% of these people had chronic diseases, but they were controlling the diseases well enough that they could perform, some as elite athletes. I talked to one 87-year-old woman javelin thrower, and I said, have you ever thought about retiring? She said, retire? Hell no, I'm on fire. So it's real. It's a function, I think, of attitude. Many people today will say, retire from what? I'm loving my life. And I think with that type of an attitude and the scientific advances, it's a real winning combination, and it's amazing what may happen.
Do you have a bad age day, Jane?
No, but I remember my mother saying, I'm 90. I'm 90. I'm 90.
I know, and it's hard to believe,
yeah,
right? I'm 90. It's hard to, 60 was bad for me.
Yeah.
60. Like, do you ever think to yourself, I'm 80?
No, not very often. Sometimes at 11,000 feet, looking down a ski lift, I think, what am I doing up there?
We'll be back with more of our panel and more of your phone calls. Nelson Mandela tomorrow night. Don't go away.
They're the largest creatures on Earth. They've adapted and evolved with strength and determination. The kind of strength that helps the Pacific Life family of companies manage more than $300 billion for its clients. And determination that has guided Pacific Life for 130 years. Size, strength, longevity, offering annuities, insurance and investments. Use the power of Pacific Life.
You don't just want clothes. You want clothes that make you feel completely at ease with yourself. Like when you were 6. Land's End. Life is in the details.
Today's mission, brainstorm ways to raid the bird feeder. How? Post-it easel pads. They really stick to the wall. No tags, no tape, no problems. So you can have a productive meeting and then do lunch. Post-it self-stick easel pads.
We're going to go to more of your calls. Art Linkletter has 11 great-grandchildren. He's 88 years old. He's never worn glasses. He doesn't get up in the middle of the night for any reason.
Wow.
Gresham, Oregon, hello.
Oh, my God.
Hi.
Hi. I'm approaching 60, and I just cannot believe how wonderful everybody looks and everything. But my question is, I know you talked of diet and exercise and taking care of yourself. Is there some kind of spirituality that gives you, along with your sense of humor? I think laughter is probably one of the best medicines, too. But is there a sense of spirituality that any of you carry with you to help you? I mean, I can't bear the thought of turning 60, but it's going to happen.
You have a spirituality, Barbara?
Yes.
You believe?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I meditate, and I...
You do?
Yeah.
Do you, Art?
Yes, and of course I speak on the subject at many churches and at educational conventions.
You believe belief is important to you?
I think you should have some kind of a belief.
Ed?
I won't say which one.
Absolutely, sure. I was raised a Catholic, and, you know, I'm very much into that, sure.
Do you?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Firmly believe.
Absolutely.
Bob, do you?
No doubt about it. I've had many experiences, and somebody's watching over us.
Willard, do you believe?
1,000%. And you know, so many of the people that I've talked to who are 100 or older, this is one of the mainstays of their very existence, is their religion and their faith. I think you see a lot of older people turning to it even more so as they get older. But the fact is, it is a very much of an anchor for everybody. Yeah,
Doctor, a Johns Hopkins study, I think, said that people who believe and who pray live longer.
Right, live longer.
I think that's certainly true. I know that in my years in medicine and in my years at Pfizer, I'm surrounded by people who believe that mind and body and spirit all work together in a very mysterious way. I'd also say that having had a dad who died from Alzheimer's disease, who was cared for in the home, and now being involved with my mother-in-law as well, supporting her, there is a redemptive quality to caring for people. As we care for people, they form us as human beings. And so part of the aging value to society, I think, is to be exposed to the process of caring. Also, senior people and mature Americans, they're very honest, and you can learn a lot by listening to them, and the pace slows down enough that you actually hear what they have to say. So I think there's a redemptive quality involved with taking care of people who have a need in the later years of their life.
San Diego, California, hello.
Yes, hi, Larry. I just
Hi.
wanted to ask your panel if they don't think mental health is just as important as physical health as you grow older. I believe in laughter, meeting new people, and having new experiences.
How important is your mental approach, Jane, to things?
Oh, I think it's very important, especially staying around younger people, and
You feel
I
younger,
enjoy
but all of you have that attitude, right?
Oh, yes.
And certainly Willard does. Willard has been a child forever, right?
Yeah, Willard, at UCLA, we teach a lifelong learning, never stop learning. Always have something that you're looking for that you didn't know about. Have a purpose in life. Don't hang out with catastrophizers. The people who want to say, oh, have you heard about so his wife left him?
Oh, yeah. Forget that.
Bob, what did defeat do anything psychologically to you? Losing a major election, did that, do you think, age you a little?
I can't remember losing, but...
What losing?
Yeah, what losing? No, I think, you know, again, I think maybe God has a plan for us, whatever that may be, whatever His will may be. But I think you have this, you should develop this positive mental attitude that Norman Vincent Peale used to tell us about every Sunday. And he was a great leader at his age, another example of age.
Yeah.
But I think as long as you have a positive attitude and a sense of humor, and you exercise your memory as well as your body, as the lady said, it's very important to have the appropriate mental attitude.
Jane, you want to say something to Bob?
Well, I just think if they had let him be himself, he would be president of the United States. But they calmed him down, and, you know, you can't do this and you can't do that, because he's got a great sense of humor and always has had.
Let him be him.
And they just didn't let him do it.
Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio, hello.
Yes, hi, Larry.
Hi.
I'm 72 years old, and I teach deep water aerobics. And I'm just wondering how Mr. Linkletter exercises.
What's your exercise routine?
Well, in the morning, I roll out of bed and do what I call the camel walk, which is on my hands and knees for the relief of my pain in the back, the lower back. And I do a kind of a rolling walk for about 10 or 12 minutes. Then I have two 10-pound weights, and I do 50 push-ups and 50 these like. Then I do swimming, and I do a bicycle, and I have a I'm active all the time.
Yeah.
What do you do, Ed?
I do the treadmill every day almost, and I have a trainer come in 3 days a week, and he puts me through my paces, challenging me all the time.
Barbara, what do you do?
I go to a gym 3 days a week, at least 3 days a week, and I do the spinning, which is the bicycle classes. And then after that, I work with a trainer.
You're a politician.
What do you do, Jane?
Well, I love to dance. I can't find anybody to dance with.
I love to dance.
Linkletter and Russell go
There you
dancing.
go.
Yeah.
You can go to Merv Griffin's on Friday night.
Yes.
Yes. Bob Dole, I know you do your treadmill. You watch the
Treadmill.
show on a treadmill.
Treadmill.
That's the treadmill. I do my treadmill every day that I'm home, and I can't do as much with my arms, but my legs are in good shape.
And Willard, what do you do?
Well, I do all of my exercise while I'm sleeping in bed. I have what I call the Dr. Pepper exercise. I get up at 10, 2, and 4 and go to the John and come back. And that's probably that's the highlight of my night, Bob. I'm sorry to...
We'll be back with more on the problems, although I don't think there are any, of aging after this.
Only Hilton Honors rewards guests with both hotel points and airline miles. And now, the Hilton Honors family has grown to include places like Hampton Inn and Homewood Suites by Hilton. Introducing the new Hilton Honors family. Over 2,000 hotels and resorts where you'll receive both points and miles for the very same stay. Come, discover just how rewarding and can be. Stay with us.
Can something like a machine give you the power to work on your own terms? A machine that actually makes you feel free. Is there such a machine? A freedom machine. What do you think?
The Protégé series featuring the Intel Pentium 3 processor. Choose freedom. Choose Toshiba.
See the world run. Run, world, run. Run. See Texaco run. Visualize, hypothesize, explore, and relentlessly search and find the energy the world needs to run. Run, world, run. Texaco, a world of energy.
We're back with our outstanding panel. Spokane, Washington, hello.
Yeah, hi. How's everybody?
Fine.
Great. Hey, you know, I'm 33 years old. I grew up around my grandparents. I'm lucky enough to be real close to them. And I want to let you know my grandfather is, he's almost 80 years old. He still hunts and fishes. In fact, I stay in shape by hanging out with him. And the funny thing is I want everybody to know that, you know, he worked hard his whole life. He worked in a slaughterhouse over in Seattle, and he was there 40 years and retired. And 2/3 of his wages go to prescription medicine for my grandmother and him. And, you know, I just wanted to make sure everybody keeps that in mind. Sometimes you lose touch of that. A lot of people have insurance, and they do have insurance, believe it or not. And it still costs them that much. And I wanted to say, I think age is a state of mind. You know, he's 80 years old, and he goes to the pool hall and shoots pool with the guys, and
That's
hunts and
amazing.
fishes and hikes the hills. He's a young man.
Would you like to dance with Jane? Because Jane's looking for a dancing partner.
Do you take a lot of prescriptions?
Moderate amount, yeah.
You?
Not a lot.
No. All right.
High blood pressure only.
Do you, Willard?
I did for a while, about 4 of them, and high blood pressure and cholesterol and stuff like that. And I stopped taking them all with the doctor's permission, and I feel better than I've felt in years, to be perfectly honest with you.
Do you take any?
I take something to sleep.
Bob, what do you take?
Cholesterol. I really probably don't need it anymore, but I still take it. That's about it. Vitamins. Take a lot of vitamins.
Westport, Connecticut. Hello. Yeah, me too. Hello. Westport, hello.
Hi, Larry. Great subject, great panel.
Thank you.
I also just want to point out it's a very well-to-do panel in terms of their financial status. And I'm just, as a 54-year-old boomer, just would like to ask the question, you can direct it. How does one plan for the financial crises that someone in their 80s or even 90s experiences, both in terms of themselves and the children of the family? How do you plan for this?
Fair question, Senator. Everyone on this panel could afford to buy any prescription.
Well, that's true, and I think it's got to be this private-public partnership almost, and some of it's got to come from the government, some of it's got to come from nonprofits, some of it's got to be the individual too, because much of the problem that individuals have, regardless of whatever their economic status might be, or maybe self-inflicted, but that's an obligation I think we have in the government, and you know, people have different views on how we approach it, but he's right on target. It's got to be this public-private partnership. And we've got to reach out to people who can't afford to take care of themselves.
One could make a case, couldn't he, Art? If someone needs a prescription for something, certainly in the life-giving area, they shouldn't be denied it.
No, I'm a spokesman for USA. That's the United Senior Association. And we say that there should be the same kind of prescription arrangement for Medicare as the federal employees get in Washington.
That's right. That'd be a good program. There should be.
Yeah.
We'll be back with our remaining moments. We'll see if Dr. McGee agrees right after this.
Got yourself into too much credit card debt? Why not point and click your way out of debt with a second mortgage from Ditech.com? Whether you have equity or no equity, good credit or not so good credit, Ditech has a second mortgage with absolutely no closing cost to help you lower your monthly payments now. So point and click your way out of high-interest, non-tax deductible credit card debt at Ditech.com or call us at 1-800-71-FIX.
Karen Ellis invests in 3 different mutual funds, so she can relax, knowing she's diversified. What she doesn't know is that her funds have 40% of the same stocks in common. See how we earn it. Solomon Smith Barney.
The pulse of business is accelerating to internet speed, which is why 96% of the Fortune E50 run Oracle. Oracle. Software powers the internet.
In this world, timing is everything. Same goes for this world. Watch CNN's Moneyline for the knowledge you need to decide when to jump in.
Doctor, before we get one more call in, do you agree the pharmaceutical industry should be cooperating in a government and private industry way to make it possible so that anybody who needs it can get a prescription?
Absolutely. I think Senator Doe really had it right. About 2/3 of the people on Medicare currently have coverage for pharmaceuticals, and so we're focusing, I think, together on how to get coverage for the other third because it's so important. Also, we need to remember that choice and innovation have sort of been central to the American system, and that's why American medicine, I think, is the ideal in the world. It's also important to remember that as we've expended more for pharmaceuticals, the number of people who've had to go to emergency rooms and have surgery and have hospitalization has declined. So in many ways, we're transforming the system toward prevention, and we have to find a way of getting everybody included. We think that all elders ought to have pharmaceutical coverage.
Thousand Oaks, California. I'm sorry, go ahead, Bob.
Well, the good news today about cancer rates going down, so a lot of good news today.
Thousand Oaks, California, hello.
Hi. I have a question for Willard Scott.
Go.
Yes,
Willard,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
This is Kay. I'm 90 years old. I want to get one of your cups, you know, your Smucker cups, so you better wait.
I will wait forever for you and to dance with Jane Russell. Those are the 2 things that I'm going to live for the rest of my life. God bless.
Wonderful.
All right, what would each of you say? We have about 2 minutes left to people. Art, what would you say to people about aging?
I think as you get older, you need to have a purpose. And that should be either your family, being sure your grandchildren know where they came from and what happened, or whether it's your community, working with the hungry or the blind people, or having an actual job. You have to pay back for having lived as long as you have.
Jane, what would you say?
Yes, I agree. I think you have to just be interested.
Don't lose.
And as I said before, I'm looking forward to where I'm going.
You believe in the...
You absolutely know that.
Barbara, what would you say?
Well, I agree with Art. I think it's very important to be active and to keep working. And really, I don't know why we have to think about aging. Why even worry about it? Just do, you know, live.
Better than the alternative.
Live, yeah.
Ed?
I think keep getting involved in things. Now I'm involved in the internet. I'm in cyberspace, and I'm loving it. I'm finding out so many things about that.
Keeps you young, right?
It really does. And they figured out a while ago, I think they brought it out, the doctor may know this, that if you don't keep those connections going in your head, keep that wiring going right, it's going to fall apart.
We're almost out of time. Willard, what would you say?
My neighbor lived to be 101. He worked every day till he died, and his slogan was, "You rust out quicker than you wear out."
And we'll leave the final word for Senator Dole. Thank you, Dr. McGee, for joining our panel. Senator, what would you say to people?
Well, I just stay connected, exercise your mind and body, do a good deed for somebody every day, and vote Republican.
Bob Dole, Willard Scott, Barbara Eden, Art Linkletter, Ed McMahon, Jane Russell, Dr. Mike McGee, the preceding a paid political announcement. Tomorrow, a non-paid political. Tomorrow night, Nelson Mandela for the full hour. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for CNN Newsstand. I'm Larry King. Good night.